I'm going to talk to you this morning about religious trauma and the feeling of being separated from God. Religious trauma is real, and so is that feeling that comes with it. So I was born an only child to an only child, and when my mother died at 2, my grandmother raised me. She was incredibly sick, physically and mentally half of the time in regards to my life, and I began caregiving for her when I was about 6. And the moment that is probably the most significant to me in regards to feeling completely separated from God was the afternoon that apparently I didn't do what it was I was told to do. It was probably something like cleaning my room. Again, I was only 6 years old. And she went to the kitchen, she pulled out a gun, and she held it to her head and said that if I did not behave, mind myself, and become a good girl, she was going to, I think Google would like you to say, unalive herself. Now, I learned 2 things in that moment. One, God certainly wasn't within me because obviously I was bad enough that somebody would want to unalive themselves. And 2, God wasn't on the outside either because I was still living with this crazy woman and no one had come to rescue me. So I want you to know that those 2 things then produced a individual like myself to become extraordinarily logical. That being said, I also understood from everything that I read, because I'm spiritually curious all of the time, from Ram Dass and Eckhart Tolle and Alan Watts and Wayne Dyer and all of that. And of course, I was biblically oriented as a child, so I had certainly read about all of the prophets, that there was a way to have a connection to the divine, to the universe, to the life force, whatever it is that you wish to call it. And I began a search for that, more prayer, more meditation, more begging, more all of that to try again to facilitate that connection. And it wasn't until I did ayahuasca at 55 years old was that divine connection restored to me in a way that I knew that it was real. Now, that's not to say that the God of my understanding didn't drop breadcrumbs along the way. That divine of my understanding did do that. It was just enough to keep me spiritually curious enough to continue to strive. So when I tell you people come to me, CEOs, executives, the Steve Jobs of the world, the engineers, the incredibly logical, the military men who have shielded up, because logic is what's going to save you in a battlefield most of the time. It's not emotion. I understand what it means to be spiritually separated. I also know what happens when you are able to, again, fully grasp, again, a connection and feel that connection along with the logic of your brain. So the right side and the left side of your brain are scientifically working at the same time. That is a feeling of liberation that, again, is absolutely underscored. And the reason that entheogens work is because entheo means the divine within. It helps you restore that spiritualness, that feeling of connectedness, along with the logical part of your brain, in a way that is absolutely profound. And this is, again, one of those reasons why I continue to do this work.